we're working on another Jeep, doing some exhaust work here. The muffler's blowing out on the back there, and this is a 4-liter Jeep, so that's why we have the one exhaust on the one side. So we have the same configuration. We want to make a connection here and then another one at the back, 2 connections there, and then this exhaust will be removable. One thing to kind of take notice of is on the back here, that's our factory support that goes into our hanger there. And this is the factory piping, and then this is the aftermarket one that was purchased. So as you can see there, that does not match with that. So either you would cut that hanger off and put it on there, or you'd build a replica to weld on there in the same location. So the purpose of this video is basically from the brainchild of the 74 Challenger exhaust repair that we did. And in that one, I built a sleeve with a flange on it to install and remove the exhaust piping. So I'm copying that idea and I'm going to put it on this exhaust here. And what we did to start out with was we got a piece of pipe here. So this was the 2 1/4 inch ID piping, and then we would find the other size pipe that fits over top of here. If you don't have one of these, or you want to build this, all you need to do is get yourself a section of pipe like this, and then you would cut it down the side, and then you would just squeeze this together, and then you weld on the inside to get the diameter you want. So that's what I did here. This pipe is larger, and I put that slice in there, and then I'm just going to squeeze it till I get the same diameter, and then I'm going to weld on the inside there. So here's our 3 components here. We have our outside pipe that I found, and then we've got that pipe with that slice in there, and then we'll pinch that together, we'll weld it on the inside, and then this is the beginning of the system of the flanged piping. Then what I did was I just went, and at first what I did was I just got a series of these plates, and I made them all the same size so that these flanges will go over top of these pipes. So the next thing is that we have this pipe here that slides over top, and then we took the centerpiece and we put a series of holes on the very center of this pipe, and then we drilled those out. And then what happens is that this will match that diameter, and you lift that up until it matches those holes there, and then you weld it from the inside. So you'll tack weld on the inside there, and then that's what's going to hold this center flange. And then basically these outside flanges, they match that diameter, and then you'll, however you want to do that, to weld this all the way around. I started off with 3 bolts there. Those are going to be the bolts to fasten it all together, and I'll have captive nuts on one side like here. So I welded the 3 captive nuts on there, and then the bolt will come in from this side, and it'll go through this one, and it'll just fasten onto there. So this 3rd hole, what I got is that's just for alignment purposes, because these 3 may not be exact, where you get this piece here, you get it flipped around or something like that. It makes it easier to install with this alignment hole, to make sure that all these are configured in the proper orientation. When you're putting it together, you can use that hole. You could get a screwdriver or a punch or something like that, and you put it in the hole to kind of wiggle it around to line it up, get your bolts in. Another thing what you could do is, in the end, is after it's all finished constructed, is you can grab the step drill here, and then you just drill out all those holes just a little bit larger, or all of them. You drill out both these holes and these holes, and this one here, to give you some more clearance, and then that's going to make it easier to install as well. Here's our finished result. So we've got that alignment hole there, and then we've got all of our nuts on the outside. That's finished welded all the way around. Inside you can see that's where I tacked that flange, this flange here. I lined that up, and then I tacked it from the inside like so. Now we have all these pieces. They slide and fit together real good, and then when we're done, we just put our connection in. So this will be welded to one exhaust pipe, this will be welded to the other exhaust pipe, And the idea being is that hopefully this design will make it kind of easier for installation, because the inside sleeve lines everything up and supports the pipes. And then you just bolt it together, and then you can take it apart if you needed to either get the exhaust out of the way to repair something else, or if you're just repairing the exhaust itself. So the strategy simply is that we'll have a connection here and a connection there. These two pipes rarely wear out. Like those are your keeper components there, right? And this is the sacrificial part, right? So your muffler eventually is going to go, and then so you just have your muffler and you would have your piping here. You have a connection there and you have a connection there, and if everything works out the way it's supposed to, you just break those two connections, rebuild your muffler piece, and then put it back in when you need to do that. So we've got an update here on that exhaust that we tried out, and it might be good for small cars, but definitely not for the Jeep. Those are those clamps that we put on. They clamp on there and bolt on, and just the clamping force here hold it together. And I also built those sleeves to go in there as well to help. As it turned out, we got some snow, and driving through this is where the exhaust piece came off. And there it is there. What happened was we're driving around through the heavy snow here, and those clamps just weren't strong enough to hold that exhaust on, so it just came off one piece. And then what we'll do is we're gonna come up with a better fix there, keep our exhaust on. Here's a situation where we really don't have the luxury of time, so we're driving this thing. We got to keep driving it. We got to get it back on the road. We have that little flange idea, so basically my quickest and fastest repair on this thing to get it back on the road right away, taking all the R&D out of the other exhaust system that we were doing and stuff. We got some leftover materials here. This is some flanges that I had made when I was doing that other project. We only have 4 flanges here. So in the other design, we would have had, so here's it all taken apart here, this sleeve piece, we would have had a flange in the center of that. But we've only got 4 of those. We got 2 connections, one there, one there. So we're gonna build the same flange system without that center piece. It'll work just the same. We're still gonna have our sleeve that goes inside here and support everything. We'll just bolt it all up and we should be good. Just finished putting those flanged couplers in on both sides. There's one here and there's one there after the muffler, and then that'll also match up front. And that was the one that we installed up front there. So now they're all the same, and they won't be coming apart. They're good and strong. So those clamps that we used, we tried them out. I thought they were going to be pretty good. They're easy to install and remove, but they're just not strong enough to hold the exhaust together. Maybe on a car that never goes off road or something like that, but definitely not on a Jeep. So I won't be using those again. I wouldn't recommend them.